Hi everybody, and today I'll show you how you can make a scratch game a bit like this one. It's an RPG game, obviously. You saw it in the title, didn't you? And then you can do all sorts of things. You can go onto a map and then pick which one you want to go. Yes, and your game will be very similar to this one. Game will be very similar. Okay, so it'll be very similar to this one, and this is what I'll be showing you on how to make in this tutorial today. So let's get into it. So the first thing we need to do is I'm gonna rename this sprite player. Now, once we've renamed it, I don't think I need a second costume. The player can be whatever you like. Just remember that it can be whatever you like. So the player right here can be whatever you like. So remember that. So we're gonna add these blocks for our player movement, which is quite important for it. Let's say duplicate that and turn that into a D key pressed. Now if we run it, you can see that we can move our player. Stop it. Or maybe I can just oops, we don't want to do a comment. I don't know if you want to. Maybe you can do an S key and change. And then you. Looks cool. Okay, so now you have kind of finished the player movement. That looks nice. But we might want the player to be in the middle of the screen where we start. So move the player to where you want it. But if you want it to be in the center of the screen when you start off, use the go to XY block. Okay. I kind of want the player to flip whenever we go left and right. So if you want the player to flip, now's a good time to copy that in of the code that I'm doing. Okay, now make sure to set rotation style to left and right, so it simply flips whenever you turn it. Yeah, it's not on left and right now. Now that's on left and right. So when A key pressed, pointing that direction, and when that key pressed, pointing that. Now let's check this out. This doesn't look bad. This doesn't look bad so far. Our game is good. Now we want to check the background for our RPG. I'm gonna convert it to bitmap. You can do this only if you want. Now this will be our grass. This will be our main land, okay? It'll be our main land, and this one will be made of grass. I want to make that a bit darker. Well, and now you can make this to make sure it's a switch costume to, switch backdrop on the stage thing. So it simply switches its backdrop to your mainland at the start, to whatever your mainland is. Okay, now that looks pretty cool. Okay, that is pretty cool, but we might want to have a different map one, and how are we supposed to that's supposed to have many ones on the map. How to switch to different ones. Well, let's code that in now. So when M key pressed, we need to oh yeah. So let's go onto the stage sprite and make sure. Let's say this one will be our map. Now let's lighten that up. Yeah, to me, like a map is a bit like pretty cool thing. Crumpled up. Switch backdrop to a map. Wait until not M key pressed. Okay, now we want to wait until the not MP press, so it doesn't do it all the time, because I'm going to add in a sound effect. What should it be? So let's see. That sounds like a good one. And then okay, now let's test that out. So when we press the M key, wait until not. Now we actually, instead of it being the M key, I've changed my mind, and your backdrop name, we want this to be backdrop name to be wait until not backdrop name to equal map. So we can't leave that sound when we're on the map. Marvelous. Yep, pretty cool. But we want there to be buttons on the maps to go to different places on this, so let's get that now. No, actually, I just want to search for a sprite. Now, let's go for search it for button. This one looks good. Could add this on the map. I could just make sure we could set its size to 70. And now, that looks good. Now, when backdrop switches to yeah, we want it to hide when we click the green flag. Or we could do a we could do hide then, because we don't want the button to do on the grassland. Okay, so that looks pretty cool. And now when okay, looking good. It's just the fact that I think we should have a good old check for our color. Cool. Now this one would be maybe a bit grey. And then this could be an inside. Okay. And that could be cool. And then we could do forever. If else, touching mouse pointer. Okay. So let's test that out. Press the M. Huh? Yeah. Yep. All fixed. So now you should have 2 costumes on it, and then it's pretty cool. You can see that on the map. And now let's call this map button 1. And now we can use a go to XY block for your X position of where you want it on the screen, so that when you do it, it does it. There's one thing, which is that we need to, it's the fact that when we click on it, there's it doesn't do anything. It doesn't take us to the map that we want it to. Well, that's simply because we haven't coded it yet. So, when the sprite is clicked, we want to actually just maybe make another one. We could call this one, maybe a cave. Great idea. Cool. So when the sprite is clicked, switch backdrop to cave, could hide it. I just want to make sure that, oh yeah, we also need to do another broadcast one, and we need to make a new message called player show. When I receive player show, we simply want to show, but when backdrop switches to map, to hide. But then, as you can see, when we press the map button, hear that sound, but I'm controlling my play right now, but we haven't coded to get it out of the map yet. MK Plast. Okay. Well, this one might want to take you to the cave, which then shows the player, but we want to only do it if our backdrop, we only want to move if our backdrop is not gonna equal. So we can move our player while we're in there, and that we don't want that to happen. Well, at least I don't. So I don't want to do that. So if backdrop name equals map. If backdrop name not equals map. Okay. So that's all fixed. This looks good. As we can see, there's just another thing that I want to do, which is to duplicate this one and call it map button 2. But this one will go to a different place, and then a different place. Map button 2. Let's separate these scripts. So that we want to do it so that when the green flag is clicked, we want it to go there, and then we want to switch it to the grass mainland, and that's what you do whenever you're making a new one, and I think you would know how to by now, because you just duplicate that and then change it slightly to how you want it to be. Okay, so there's one thing I have definitely noticed, which is the fact that this should be over here. So obviously that did not go correctly. 168, 116, 116. Okay, so I've noticed that that okay, we need to also broadcast another message I've noticed is that hide button. Hide button, and when I receive hide button, we want to hide. You also need to broadcast a hide button on this. Make sure you include this in all of your other ones. This looks pleasant. It works. Phrase clicked hide. Oh yes, and I forgot to put that in here. So there doesn't look like there's any bugs. It does what it's supposed to do. This one brings me to the grass mainland. This one brings me to the cave. Brilliant. Okay. There's one thing is that it's hard to know which one that is. So that's a bit of an issue. So let's fix that. It's going to be quite easily done. So we want this one. No, check which one you're on. I think this one is the one that brings me to the cave. So then we want to think. No, we don't want to think. We want to think cave for about, let's say, 1 second. Yeah, but we haven't coded it on that one, and we want to code it for all of them. Okay, so let's put that in here. And where did that thing go? Oh well, you know what? It just doesn't matter. Because I didn't need to do that. We want to not think but we want to see grass mainland. Let's call it grass mainland, and we only want to think it for I've changed my mind. I want it to be 0.1 seconds on this one, on all of this is I also want to do that on this one. You can modify think cave. Maybe I need to just you can pick any time you like. So how many is that? Okay, now let's count. One. Okay, there's a lot of points, but I have no clue why this one does it for a long time. I might do that. Anyway, I've been recording for about 18 minutes now, and it's a good time to end this episode of the tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed, and the next tutorial might not be out yet, but it probably is. If it isn't out, don't worry, I'll post it very soon. So subscribe and turn on notification to get notified when it gets done, and stay tuned.